Did you send me the presentation?
I did.
Okay, so I'll do it here. Yeah. This one. Okay.
Come on, everybody who went to school votes.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming to the October 11th Town Board meeting. There are exits towards the front of the building and the rear of the building for the folks that are here. Welcome to everyone on Zoom. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we'll start with public comment number one. Anyone here who would like to speak? Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Oops, delay.
You sound good, though.
Do I? Thank you. Okay.
Little reverb from the.
Anyone here want to speak? Yeah, please mute your phones.
Name, Hamlet, and 3 minutes.
Hi, my name is Elena Dunn. My name is Elena Dunn, and I live in the town of Lewisboro. As you know, last month we had our library fair, and I was taking some time to walk around the fair and to talk to the citizens of Lewisboro, and I asked them what the library meant to them. I think I met with over 100 people here. Many of them summed it up in just one word, such as books, knowledge, imagination, futures, resources, escape, learning, information, labyrinth, dreaming, peace, togetherness, sharing, travel, education, growth, and sanctuary. Many others wrote a brief phrase like love of learning, free access to books, positive presence in Lewisboro, challenging your imagination, a place where everyone is welcome, endless hours to faraway places, a smorgasbord of ideas that one can sample for free, creates a sense of place that anchors the town, access to the world, home away from home office. Great library equals a great town. When you look at the poster, you'll notice that a word or phrase was written quite often, and that word was community and community center and the heart of the community. Thank you to all the citizens of Lewisboro for sharing their ideas with me. And thank you to the town board for listening to the citizens of Lewisboro. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hi, Karen Conti, South Salem. I'm here to speak in support of basically whatever Cindy Rubino was requesting from the library. I trust that she's done her homework. She knows what the library needs. The library is such an essential part of our community. We've been here for 30 years, and the first thing we did was get a library card. I'm sure that's what many people do. Whenever I'm there, the people of all ages are there, learning, playing, visiting, schmoozing with the library staff, looking up a new recipe, how to knit, all about outer space or anything they want to do. And I urge you to continue to support the library and go a little above and beyond what the town has already done, just like the library does for us. Thank you.
Anybody else?
My name is Ronnie Thompson. I live in the town of Lewisboro, and I'm going to read a letter that I emailed to all of you on the board. A library is the center of the community. One of the first things that new people to the community go to is the public library in town to secure a library card for members of the family. A library is more than lending of books, periodicals, and DVDs. Today, libraries are increasingly moving in the direction of functioning as information centers as well as being repositories of book collections. This quote is from Susan Orlin. The library book reflects the thoughts from librarians in the 1960s. Surely this quote shows how librarians are on the forefront of innovation. Many libraries in the surrounding areas are spending millions of dollars to improve and transform their libraries. These renovated libraries will add additional meeting rooms, small auditoriums, quiet spaces, etc., where people can conduct business. The new facilities are so flexible they can be reconfigured almost daily to meet the needs of the community. While unfortunately nothing like this is happening in the town of Lewisboro, our library somehow meets the demands of our community due to the dedication and flexibility of our library staff. Rarely do they say no when presented with new program ideas. They go above and beyond to make things happen either in person or via Zoom. This only brings the community closer together. We must remind ourselves that a public library is free to all. It serves everyone in the community. Name one other community activity or service that reaches out to every member of the community. I implore you, as a resident in the town of Lewisboro for 31 years, whose children grew up in the Lewisboro Library and who took advantage of many of the toddler through teen programs, whose library staff still asks after my children, to increase the town's financial contribution to the Lewisboro Library in 2023. A town without a well-funded library is a very sad place to live.
Anyone else? Okay, how about on Zoom?
Yes, Tony, we have Barbara Mangione. I'll invite you to unmute.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so I want to speak about, there are a couple of discussion items that are on the agenda. I don't know if they've been taken off, but they were as of a little while ago regarding discussing designations for no through traffic on certain roads in the town. And I want to preface this by saying I don't blame any resident for wanting a safe road. But my concern is I do believe that parts of these roads that are in question already have truck restrictions on them. So I'm assuming these are probably issues with increased traffic or safety issues, which quite frankly could be attributable to 90% of the roads in Lewisboro. So my question is, I'd like to know if traffic studies are done when requests like these come in. What kind of criteria must these requests meet? What kind of criteria does the town have for these designations? And also, how does it affect surrounding roads? So if the town is going to be changing roads, changing designations, adding truck restrictions or no through traffic, I will say right now that we would like to add Increase Miller Road into this discussion. I've brought this up several times when I first moved up here. I went to the town highway department. I went to the town board. We're talking 29 years ago. I begged them to do something about traffic on Increase Miller Road and the unsafe conditions. I was told they couldn't because it was a collector road, although I was told last year it wasn't a collector road. I was told back then that speed bumps were illegal, and last year I was told they were not illegal. So I did have conversations a good 28 years ago about this. And quite frankly, Increase Miller is a very dangerous road, both from 138 across Todd Road all the way up to the Bedford line. I do know many families would like something to be done. So if we're going to start discussing no through traffic and how to make roads safer, I would like Increase Miller Road added to this discussion. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Barbara. Next, I'm asking Carol Cernak to unmute.
Hi, this is Carol Cernak, Farvey Farm, South Salem, New York. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so first I would like to know, I've written several times in emails to the town board, speaking about certain concerns. Certain people I hear back from in response, others go unnoticed and, unanswered. I speak at these meetings and nothing ever gets answered. Maybe nothing ever, maybe 95% of the time, it goes unanswered. All my questions are left in the wind. I was told to be patient by Tony, before he was our town supervisor, and Rich as the liaison to the highway department. Be patient, keep speaking your mind, and stop saying swear words, which I have done, which is hard to do, as you can tell right now. But I would like to know when I'm going to get answers to my questions. And I think a lot of other people in the town want to know the same thing. We keep writing in email correspondence and speaking up at these meetings, and everything goes unanswered. The other thing I would say is that Tom Clemmings, I think his name is, he's on the Antenna Advisory Committee. Stop using Farview Farm as your vista for what Lewisboro stands for when you're preaching to the town to put the antenna, the cell tower antenna at the Salt Dome site, which is going to impede our view, and that you have no regard for the historical hamlet.
Shouldn't be making a comment about that.
Excuse me?
Okay, keep going, Carol. It's fine.
Okay. And Jean Wallace Douglas and her extended family have been denied access to the library despite being a donor for many, many years. Mrs. Douglas used to come up here in the summers to enjoy her time out of Washington. And I used to have to go over there with a bill from the electric company to get her access into the library to take out a library book or a video or whatever. So your due diligence to this family not respecting the town for what it is and its vistas and its viewpoint and its contribution is duly, we're very firm about what you've done. So we appreciate that.
All right, thank you, Carol. I have one more, Colleen's iPad. Colleen, can you please state your full name and your hamlet?
Hi, it's Colleen McLafferty. I am in my 8th year of a trustee for the Lewisboro Library. And we got our first library cards, my husband and myself and our 3 kids, in 1989. We have been continuous patrons and patrons often and loving it. We put a lot of work into the library budget for 2023, as in past years. And I personally and my whole family strongly urges the town board to pay attention to the requests we are making for an increase in our budget. It's wildly appropriate, and we encourage each of you town board members to ask questions of any of us as trustees. I know quite a few are in the audience, and a presentation will be done by our director, Cindy Rubino, but I just wanted to bring attention to the effort. We've put in a lot of effort for this, and the library is the jewel of the community, I believe is one of the phrases. So thank you very much for this opportunity to speak to you.
All right, thank you, Colleen. That's it, Supervisor.
Okay. Thank you, Janet. Next, we have communication. So we did receive many emails related to the library. Not going to read them all, but There was one specifically where they did request that it be read during the meeting. So I'm going to read this. Dear Supervisor Gonsalves and Town Board members Shaw, Rendell, Walsh, and Sclaren, the Lewisboro Library is an essential, treasured, and unique part of our community. Reaching well beyond the scope of checking books in and out, the Lewisboro Library serves as a knowledge center through its rich programming, an intergenerational community center through its dedicated focus on children, teens, adults, and seniors, and a technology leader through its digital media offerings. We are so proud to live in a community that values its library. The residents of Lewisboro have a wide range of learning opportunities and close community relationships to the ongoing vision and advocacy of the amazing library leadership team, from Mahjong to James Joyce to Discovery backpacks to fishing equipment. There is something for everyone. We respectfully ask the town supervisor and the council persons to continue and increase financial support of the library in the 2023 budget. The Lewisboro Library truly is the heart of our community, and we hope that you will facilitate its continued role and advancement. With gratitude, Rory and Lisa Burke from 3 Canaan Circle, 16-year residents. And it was many others. So thank you for everyone who sent emails. If there's any specific one you wanted, you have it. I don't think. I think, oh, here it is. Here it is. I have it. Okay, so I'll read this one as well. Good morning, Tony. I understand you are reviewing the budget support for the library next week. As a 25-year resident of Lewisboro, I am so proud of our library. It's a welcoming, efficient, and inclusive space for all residents. Being able to go to sit and read quietly, attending a concert, special speakers and programs. Where else in this town do you have so many diverse opportunities to expand one's knowledge and creativity? It is a critical and desirable place to bring all members of our community together. I believe it is important to provide the most robust funding for our library as is possible. Best, Priscilla Schaefer.
Actually, that was.
Oh, I'm sorry.
From
Is that the
another
wrong
Priscilla.
one?
No, the different Priscilla, actually.
I have that
So-
one too. Okay, so
Let's read all the.
I'll read it. Sorry about that. Dear Supervisor Gonsalves and Lewisboro Town Board members, it's easy to take a library for granted. Libraries are welcoming, interesting, and happy spaces. Librarians and library staff select books and programs to enrich, educate, and appeal to all members in the community. They provide expertise in finding and interpreting information and navigating the numerous resources available through visual and written media and digital tools. The obvious way to quantify the value of the library is to look at patron visits, checkouts, and other statistics. What is more important and key to understanding the intrinsic value of a library is that it is a place where anyone, rich or poor, from any background, regardless of beliefs, can find a wealth of information and entertainment. A library is the home to many free programs and events. In a town without a staffed community center, the Lewisboro Library provides a structure that can be used in a variety of ways to bring people together. The building itself is a valuable asset to the town, but it is the library staff who bring the real value by organizing the resources in the building and producing the programs and events. It is well known that you can count on the library. You rarely hear the word no. When they are asked for help, the director and staff figure out how to make things happen. The programs offered in person via Zoom, the ongoing support given to the community partners like the Lewisboro Garden Club and the Lewisboro Land Trust, and the open access to resources would simply not be possible without the library staff who are always willing to go above and beyond. They work days, nights, weekends, in weather emergencies, and during school vacations to stay open and serve the people of Lewisboro. They do it quietly and without fanfare. Every dollar spent on the building, technology, grounds, media, and programs is looked at critically to see if we can stretch it further. The library staff complete many tasks in-house rather than pay outside contractors. Library trustees meet Sunday mornings to maintain the grounds and fix small issues with the building. Programs are co-sponsored with other libraries to reduce expense. Grants are used to cover new technology and large capital expenditures whenever possible. Ongoing contracts like insurance, heating and air conditioning are reviewed carefully to spend the lowest amount necessary to ensure that the library will be ready when needed during a weather emergency. I ask you to acknowledge and support the contribution of the Lewisboro Library to our community and the director and staff who are responsible for this contribution. The Board of Trustees, Library Director, and library staff have a mission to ensure that free, unrestricted access to media and information is available and accessible to all community members, and we take this responsibility very seriously. I sincerely hope that you will stand behind the Lewisboro Library by increasing the town's financial contributions to the library in 2023. When you advocate for the library, you advocate for our whole community. Sincerely, Priscilla Luckow, Lewisboro Library Trustee. Okay. I think that's it for the.
And there were many,
There were
many
many,
more.
there were many. Yeah, many emails over this.
But those are
course of
the
last
only,
week.
those are the only Priscillas, though, right?
Only two, unless I missed a few, because, yeah, but that was it. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so I think that's all I had for communications. Next, we have the consent agenda. Motion to approve the consent agenda, which includes the meeting minutes of the last meeting and the monthly reports for the building department and police department.
Actually, I have something on that.
Okay.
On the meeting, the September 27 board minutes. There's one section which I wanted to make a motion to supplement the record on that. There's a section that talks about Oak Ridge. After much discussion, it was stated that the capacity should not be an issue, but rather the quality of the water is the problem with the residents. That's was correctly transcribed, but I just wanted to supplement that as part of the record for the minutes that in my follow-up review of New York State Department of Health water system operation reports during the drought in August of 2022, there were 4 days, August 8, 9, 13, and 17, where daily usage was between 87,000 and a little over 91,000. So I just wanted to supplement the record on that there were a few days in August of 22 where there was a quantity issue, which I just wanted to supplement the record.
Yeah, but let me just clarify something. The drought, when we did ask people to lower their irrigation use, happened in July, mid-July. What happened there was a flow meter issue. So for those few days, the flow meter was incorrectly reading and that flow meter was replaced.
Yeah, no,
But
I'm
just
just
to
saying,
make
well,
it clear.
well, then there's an asterisk behind it. I'm just going based
Yeah.
upon that, the fact that there may be a reason behind it, but I just wanted to supplement the record that there were a few days in August of 2022 during the draft, when the daily use, according to the New York State Department of Health report, exceeded the 80,000 gallon per day capacity.
And to be clear, that's the report that's submitted to the New York State and County Department of Health by the plant operator.
Okay, well, then they should come supplement and clarify that. So I want that information just to supplement the record of the meeting.
That's fine.
From September 27th. Over that, I move
So
to adopt.
So moved as amended by.
Can you send to me exactly what you want me to add to
Oh,
my minutes?
just what I put in there. I can send
Right,
an
but if you
email.
can email it to
She's
me
asking.
so I can just be clear on it.
You got it.
So who made the motion? Mary? Is amended and second?
Second.
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, new business. We have presentation by Katie McGinn on the Comprehensive Plan Steering Committee. It's a quarterly update. So if Katie is on, we'll let her present and share her screen. And then I can display it here.
Hi,
go.
everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Great. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen.
Yeah, let me put it up on the screen here, Katie, before you start.
Sure. Do you want me to share or are you sharing?
No,
the
no, no,
rest?
you share, but I'm going to put it up. We have a projection for the folks in the room,
Gotcha.
which my computer is connected to.
Okay.
So hold on a second. Let me see.
Before Katie begins, can we just clearly have the record state that what we just motioned and voted on includes the monthly reports?
The consent agenda as amended, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Everything
Okay.
else.
Okay.
Thanks for letting me interrupt, Katie.
No problem.
Hold on. Okay.
Okay, you're good. So it's you can see quarterly update on the screen.
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay, well, hello, everyone. My name is Katie McGinn. I am the chair of the Comprehensive Plan Steering Committee. And tonight I'm going to give the board and the public one of our many quarterly updates. I want to thank the other members of the committee and a number of other people. So the other members of our committee are Charlene and Delicato, Larry Mango, Mark Robbins, John Wolf, Kirsten Conran is our administrator for the committee, and Dan and Andrea are our town board liaisons. We are working with Nelson Pope Voorhees as the consultant to the comprehensive plan project, and Valerie Manastra is the project manager with Nelson Pope Voorhees, or NPV as we like to call them for short. We've done previous quarterly presentations to the town board starting July 26, 2021, October 25th, 2021, January 24th, 2022, March 29th, 2022, and June 13th, 2022. So if anyone is interested in catching up on that content, those updates are detailed on the town board meeting minutes and also on the Comprehensive Plan Steering Committee page on the Lewisboro website. As you can see, we've been at this project for a long time, and there's a lot of hard work that's gone into it already. And we still have a long road to go. So thanks for bearing with us and for me tonight as I give you the update. So first, I want to read our mission statement. The Comprehensive Plan Steering's mission is to engage the Lewisboro community in order to inform the future of our town and capture this vision in an updated comprehensive plan. Our mission is also to ensure fair and equal opportunities for all members of the community to provide input throughout this multi-year process. So just a reminder, this mission is going to guide our work throughout the entire process. And I'd like to share one specific example tonight of how we've applied this mission statement to date and how we're applying it as we're moving into the community engagement portion of the project, which we're all really excited about. So tonight you'll hear about a series of virtual, in-person, and pop-up meetings and events that will be taking place in 2023. And we recognize that certain populations within our community will not be able to attend these events. For example, the older adults in the Lewisboro community. So we will be coordinating with community groups, with town staff and town committees to schedule focus group discussions with these members of our community to ensure that their input and their vision for the community is not underrepresented. So if you're listening tonight, or if board members, you know of an organization that can help us connect with members of the Lewisboro community who might otherwise be underrepresented throughout this process, please let us know. You can contact us and send us an email. So just to walk through our project timeline, we've got 3 phases in our project. So first, the introductory phase where we are now, we've got the community launch survey. This happened more than a year ago in 2021, and we collected information about Lewisboro residents and stakeholders, their vision for the community. And that information was worked into the consultant search and hire process. And big thank you to the town board for hiring NPV as the consultant to the plan. So NPV and Valerie and her team have been busy behind the scenes doing preliminary review work. They have met with at this point, almost all of the town committees and councils. They're in the process of scheduling meetings with the town board, with the planning board, with the zoning board of appeals, and ACARC. And they're working hard to get sort of an inventory of demographics and all this sort of nuts and bolts information about Lewisboro. At the same time, we are currently undergoing our community participation survey. So this is a whole new survey, brand new. and it is collecting information about how folks want to participate in the process and if they want to volunteer to help. So more information about that in the next couple slides. The next phase of the project will be the community engagement phase. And this is when we will be holding community workshops. They will be focused on the town and on the specific hamlets. We will be forming community outreach teams, and we will be crafting a community vision statement through these community workshops. There will also be pop-up events. Just an example, we're going to have a trunk at the upcoming trunk or treat event where we will be passing out information about how you can respond to our survey along with some candy. So phase number 3 is the project plan update phase. And that is when MPV will actually be drafting the updated comprehensive plan. They will be soliciting community input on the draft and holding public hearings on the proposed plan and proposed zoning amendments. And ultimately, the town board will be responsible for accepting the updated plan or not. And this committee, the steering committee, will simply be presenting the draft as a recommendation to the town board. And so we're currently in phase 1. Phase 2 community engagement will kick off in early 2023, and the plan update phase will be happening in mid to late 2023, but the timeline is subject to change based on how things move forward. So now I'm going to give you a little bit of information on each specific phase about how you as a community member can get involved. So first, in the introductory phase, here's what you can do. You can tune in for project updates. We're presenting quarterly at town board meetings, just like this. And we're also airing our monthly committee meetings on the town YouTube channel. And there are links to those meetings on our website. There's links to the recordings so you can watch them anytime. And there's meeting agendas and minutes on our website. And just to clarify, when I say our website, I mean our page on the Town of Lewisboro website. So one thing I want to draw your attention to, last month we broadcasted a very quick 34-minute project update video on YouTube. It's available on our website, and it's a great resource for learning more about the project goals and about the project phases. So number 2 in the introductory phase, how can you get involved? You can respond to our participation survey. So I mentioned this earlier, the survey is available right now. There are links to an English version and a Spanish version on our website. And I'll show the link at the end of this presentation as well. A big thank you to all the community members who have responded. As of this evening, we have just over 370 responses so far. So we're very excited about that. The survey closes on October 31st, so there's still a little bit more time. So when you respond to the survey, you'll have the opportunity to let us know if you want to be added to the project mailing list, or if you actually want to help with community outreach. So the outreach would involve attending town events, promoting upcoming public meetings and workshops, and distributing information on the comprehensive plan process. So the last thing I want to highlight in our current introductory phase, we would love for you as a community member to review our community outreach and engagement plan, which is available on our page of the town website. So in that plan, you'll see there's an Appendix A, which is a list of community stakeholders, and we realize it is currently incomplete. So please review it and let us know if you don't see your organization, your association, or your business listed as a stakeholder. While we've designed the comprehensive plan process specifically to get input directly from individuals, we will be relying on organizations and businesses to help us spread the word about the process and about events. Okay, so the community engagement phase, how can you get involved there? So I mentioned earlier community outreach teams. These teams will be tasked with promoting upcoming public meetings and also with distributing some information on the comprehensive plan process. We really need the help of these community outreach teams to make sure that all members of the Lewisboro community have the opportunity to participate in our public meetings. And so far, we've organized community outreach teams, one for each hamlet, and then one for lakes in general. But there's really no limit to how many of those outreach teams we can have. So the other way that we want you to get involved during the community engagement phase is to join our events and workshops. So the first will be likely in January 2023. That could change, obviously, but that's our target right now. It will be in early 2023 regardless. This will be a virtual event aimed at forming a vision for the Lewisboro community. And then we will be having a virtual survey or series of surveys. And that will be in addition to the surveys we've done so far, and it will hone in on specific topic questions. Then in mid-2023, potentially spring, there will be a potentially in-person or virtual event aimed at digging deep into areas of concern and opportunities for the Lewisboro community. Next up, each hamlet will have its own virtual workshop in potentially spring 2023 to discuss how specific topics relate to each hamlet area. So again, as I mentioned earlier, there will be focus group discussions for members of our community who may otherwise be unable to attend the broader public workshops. And of course, there will be ongoing project updates on YouTube and the quarterly update at town board meetings. And our website is always a great source of information as well. Okay, so the last phase of the project, plan update phase. So we will be building on the activities from the earlier two phases, and this will be the town's chance, residents and stakeholders, to provide comments on the draft of the updated comprehensive plan before it is recommended to the town board. And you will be able to participate in a community outreach team. And again, we really need the help of members of the outreach teams to make sure that everybody in Lewisboro knows about the public meetings, knows about the public hearings, and can participate. We hope that you will join us for the public hearings. They will likely be in late 2023 and virtual. And of course, there will be ongoing project updates on YouTube and at town board meetings. And our website is always there as a great source of information. So here's the link to our page on the town site. This is where the survey, the participation survey, is currently available. The survey right now is just one of many, many ways to get involved in the project. I hope that's clear based on this quick presentation tonight. And I want to highlight just one more time that the participation survey, although it is on our website, I do want to also let everyone know that you can request paper copies that can be sent to you via mail. Information about that is on the website. And please, everybody who's listening tonight, if you haven't already taken the survey, please let your neighbors and friends know about it. And we really want to hear from as many people who live and or work in Lewisboro as possible. So thanks everybody for your time listening to this presentation tonight. And thank you to the town board for your ongoing support. I am happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Katie. Any questions from the board? Katie?
Katie, is there not, I think I read somewhere that there's a large print copy available as well?
Yes, thank you so much for mentioning that. Yes. We have on the website Pam Beats' telephone number, and you can call her for a copy by mail and or a large print copy.
That's 914-232-6162.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Katie. You can stop sharing the screen now.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, everyone.
Have a good night, Katie. Thank you.
Okay, next we have the 2023, should be 2023 library budget. Cindy? Now, do you want me to put up the spreadsheet?
And also I sent you a presentation.
Yes, I have that.
It's best to have the spreadsheet separately because it doesn't,
Do you want the presentation first or the
Yes,
spreadsheet?
please,
Okay.
yeah. The spreadsheet is in the presentation, but it just not perfect at publisher and it,
Okay,
it's too-
let's see here.
let me know when you're ready.
It should be.
Good evening. Thank you. I'm Cindy Rubino. I'm the library director of the Lewisboro Library and a Vista resident for over 25 years. I've been the director at the library for nearly 20 years. And tonight I am accompanied by many members of the library board. We have Alina Dunn, Jennifer Kaya, Stephen Underhalter, Andrew Tedder, Lisa Capabianco, Jay Luzzi, who is our board president, and where's Kevin? Oh, there's Kevin, Kevin Fitzmartin, our treasurer, and Maggie Luigi on our board as well. I do actually know her last name. She just has like 2 last names, so I want to get it right. So it's been a rough couple of years, as with everybody, coming out of COVID. 2020 and 2021 are difficult years to compare with. In 2020, we were closed for a total of, I believe it was 24 weeks. And in 2021, we were closed for about 20 weeks. Now, by closed, of course, in the beginning, when the shutdown, we were all closed. But very shortly thereafter, we continued to serve the community first with our digital media offerings, which shot up by 60% during that time period when everybody was stuck at home. And then we began curbside pickup. You could call and request things, or by email, we would leave them outside. People didn't have to come in. We started having virtual programs, which ended up being very popular. So some of the information I'm going to show you, I'm going to hark back to those years before that time period of how we're doing. So I just want to remind you, for those that may not know and are watching at home, the library is a can you just go back to the beginning for a minute, which I just want to make sure that's this is the February presentation, which I also sent you.
Oh,
Sorry, I'm
Okay,
sorry.
so let me,
I should have pointed that out. I brought it along just because there's some
Yes.
information I did not repeat, and if I needed it.
okay,
Sorry, Tony.
that's okay. Let me just open, I did see 2 emails. Yeah.
That's okay. I sent them to you last minute, so.
February 2022 library presentation. Ah, yeah, here it is, yeah. Oops.
And I really must compliment the town on your hybrid town meetings. You just do it so well.
Thank you. Now, this one says 10, 11, okay, 22. Yeah, that's right, that's right. So this is good.
It's
Okay,
October,
okay.
yeah. Sorry.
It's all right.
To slow you
it's fine,
down.
It's fine. No, you're correct. I'm the one that shouldn't have questioned that, but it's been a long day. Let me share. Post. It's this one.
There we go. That's great. Okay.
Hold on a second. Okay, so I'll go to the next slide.
Please.
Okay.
Okay, great. I just want to remind you of the many ways that we serve our community. Functioning as a warming, cooling, and charging station for the community during emergencies, providing meeting space for community and nonprofit groups. And I must point out, in a town where that type of space is it's in short supply. Providing cultural events such as concerts and plays, local history center, including library archives dating to about 1800. Providing study space for students of all ages, from elementary to graduate, extending library hours during high school exam periods, providing meeting space for tutors and students, providing quiet working space for residents with small businesses, providing public Wi-Fi, public computers and printers in the building. The Wi-Fi extends outside the building when we are open and when we are closed. And we extended that into the parking lot and to the front yard this past year as well. We promote technological literacy with workshops on Excel, Google Drive, online privacy, etc. We assist less technologically literate patrons with using computers for job applications, government forms, etc.
Wait, hold on a second.
Yeah.
It's only showing on Zoom the cover page.
Oh.
Oh, hold on a second. Why is that?
Maybe you paused your share.
No,
It's sharing, but
it didn't
to
move.
enable that.
Wait, hold on a second. Let me just stop share. Let me do something different. Hold on.
Maybe we can ask the town librarians.
Yeah, I think you may be right, Janet.
I
Enable
think we're
edit.
all tired of Zoom.
Yeah, I think that's what. Hold on. Let me see. Let me try this again, actually. Great. Just start this over here. Hold on. Now it has to. Oh. User error. Okay, so now let me just do a test here. If I change slides, does it change on Zoom?
No, if you go on the left, you get two.
On the left?
On the left.
He did have the right slide on here.
Yeah,
Right,
it's
but
fine
not
here,
on
but
Zoom.
not on Zoom.
No, it's not changing.
Interesting.
Yeah, stop share.
Let me just stop share.
I've had this happen to me during library board members meetings, so frustrating.
Let's try this again.
Might be it.
Share right at that screen. So.
How,
There, now it's on.
does it change? Okay, you know what it is? It's when I go into what's it called? The slideshow
Presentation
mode.
mode.
I gotcha.
That's what does it. Yes, I'll leave it like this.
Okay,
Okay, sorry.
thank you. Where were we? Assisting less technologically literate patrons with using computers for job applications, government forms. You know, in this day and age, you would think that everybody can manage those things, but there are many people who live in town who don't have computers at home and need a lot of help when they're suddenly confronted with having to deal with the government and filling out applications or looking for information. They do not know where to turn. And that's one of the things that we do for people. One of our new services that we are now lending Wi-Fi hotspots to patrons whose internet access is limited. They can be having trouble at home, or they can bring it along with them on a business trip or on vacation. And we were able to get a grant to purchase 11 of them, and they've been very, very popular. All 11 were out at the same time this past summer. Museum passes, homebound delivery service for those who can't leave their home. We proctor exams for independent learners, and we have book clubs. Okay, moving on. I have just a few facts and figures. Total circulation of library print and digital materials. I include 4 years here to show where we were before the pandemic, where it dropped to during the pandemic, and coming back, because people are coming back to the library. So 2019, we circulated over 100,000 items, both print and digital. It dropped to about 77,000 during the height of the pandemic for those 2 years. That was, again, both print and virtual, often by the library staff getting the materials for people, leaving them outside for them to pick up. In 2022, as of the end of August, we're up to 62,885. And if you compare that to the same period through August last year, it is up 20%. And I expect that we will finish the year improving. Library visits, very similar type of statistics. We do have people counters on the doors. So we know when people come in and out. We divide it by 2. We know that they go out and they trip the people counter again. In 2019, 63,971 dropped to 36,000 and 46,000. And so far this year, as of the end of September, that's been 41,228. And through the end of September last year, it's up 19.23%. Library cards. As of the end of 2021, we had 5,800 library card holders. This year, as of September, we've given out 354 new library cards. And through the same period, it increased 50% over people getting library cards. It says overall at 2021, but that's not right. It's just the end of 2022. And programs, I just have adults and children. We're about 61% so far for the year. With that, we continue to offer a few virtual programs, particularly for adults, but we are increasingly holding in-person programs and children's programs and some adult. We hold outside for as long as we can. You can move on, Tony. Okay, so I know the board is well familiar with our structure, but for those who might be watching from home, we're not familiar with it. The Lewisboro Library is an association library. There are 4 different legal structures for libraries in New York State, and that is one of them. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization that is chartered by the New York State Education Department as a public library. We annually negotiate and contract with the town to deliver library services. The town currently funds the library at $455,914, or 69.6% of the library's operating budget. This is only 3.3 of the town's total budget appropriations of $13,747,170. This is down from 3.6 in 2021. However, our town finance director has stated it is more correct to point out that our portion of the total tax bill is 6.2%. In 2020, this resulted in the town funding the library at $35.30 per capita. That's public support per capita. This was the lowest per capita rate for library funding in Westchester County, ranking 38 out of 38 libraries. And the following chart will show that the library must raise the remaining 30.5% of our operating budget in order to maintain our current level of services to the community. And I'm sorry this is so small, but you can certainly see us down in the yellow at the bottom. The column on the right-hand side is ranked, shows all the libraries in Westchester County. There's Lewisboro down at the bottom. This is from 2020. Unfortunately, the state has not released the 2021 figures yet. I will be happy to share those with you when I get them. However, this has not changed for many years, so I do not anticipate that we will move out of the basement there. We're not only in the basement. If you look, we're not really very close to the libraries above us as well. And it is a variety of libraries in different towns. The bold ones are the ones that are nearby to us. How do we raise the remaining funds? 30%. Direct mail and social media annual appeals for donations, the library fair, library trustee directed fundraising events and sales, library fees and fines, and the New York State local aid to libraries, which comes to about maybe $3,800. I'm just going to skip over the budget here because it's so hard to see. I'll get to that in a minute. Let me just talk
I'll
about,
put the budget up on the next document.
well, when we're all done,
Yeah.
well, I'll tell you when we do. I'm just going to
Yeah.
have some things to go over. Yeah, I can just talk generally about it before we bring it up.
Mhm.
The Board of Trustees creates the budget with the assumption that the library will be able to raise enough money to cover the net loss. We customarily make a budget that has a net loss at the bottom of it. And we hope, knowing that the library's fundraising, the majority of it comes in the fourth quarter of the fiscal year due to the timing of the fair and the annual holiday direct mail appeal. What happens if the library does not close the gap and eliminate the net loss in the budget? We maintain an operating reserve to cover minor net losses. Failing this, the library would have to decrease its operating hours, services, programs, and purchasing library materials for library collection. Since 2019, the library has had to dip into the operating reserve 8 times to cover an annual operating fund net loss.
Just to clarify, say that
Yes.
should be 2019, not 2009. It says 2009.
It does. I think it is. Oh, I think it's 2009,
Okay.
but I will check that. I will
Because you have
check
8
that.
and 4, so 12,
Is-
2009, 12 years, right?
So the reserve is over 8 times. That's correct.
Okay,
Yes, what is
sorry.
correct. Yeah.
I'm sorry, you're confusing me now. I can't think. No.
No, it's okay. No, because you said 2019.
I gotcha. I'm
Good,
sorry. I
good.
meant to say
That's all right, that's all right.
2009. I do have to say in 2021, the library finished with a net profit for the first time in a while that was fairly considerable due to the library receiving a PPP forgivable loan from the federal government and some generous donations. Stresses on the 2023 budget. Let's see. Okay, sorry, trying to figure if we want to look at this or bring up the budget. You could bring up the budget if you want, and I'll just continue to talk. Increased stresses on the 2023 budget. Increased pension administration costs. The library was forced to switch to a new pension company, Vanguard, because the old one, Bright House, was no longer offering its annuity services in New York State. So even though we had hired people that should have been on the pension plan, we found out after the fact that they wouldn't accept them because they were no longer operating in New York State. So we signed up with the Vanguard very recently, and we must administer 2 plans until the retired employees can be moved off the old plan. There's a couple of different, it's not a defined pension plan, but they also contributed their funds, which are still at Bright House. So we can't close that up without them wanting to move their investments elsewhere. Expenses are increasing due to suppliers passing their increased minimum wage costs from the past 5 years and inflationary pressures onto the fees and prices that we are charged, e.g. custodial services, payroll service, books and media. We need an audit. The library schedules an audit usually every 5 years, which we anticipate will cost in excess of $5,000. We would love to have one every year, but we just cannot afford it. Increased costs for utilities such as oil and electricity, and also increased costs for custodial and maintenance costs as the building is no longer new. As many of you know, we did completely renovate the building in 2014, but time has gone by and unfortunately it's no longer brand new and we're already having some maintenance issues that we have to take care of. Cost saving measures. The Lewisboro Library is part of the Westchester Library System Cooperative, which allows us to borrow materials from our patrons from any library through the WLS delivery system. We reduced our hours starting in 2020, eliminating our Sunday and Tuesday evening hours, and we have not restored them. We created our own backroom network to avoid increased charges from WLSIT to provide for us, though we still rely on them for our network and equipment, Wi-Fi. We removed one public computer to reduce WLSIT charge, leased printers and copiers instead of buying to reduce costs. And our dedicated trustees actually maintain the garden and the grounds themselves instead of hiring a landscape service. I'm very proud of them and they're very proud of themselves. The town does provide the grass cutting, but they're there the first Sunday of every month if anybody likes to garden and wants to help them. And our library partners in the community, Lewisboro Land Trust, Garden Club, League of Women Voters, Girl Scout and Boy Scout troops, Katona Lewisboro schools and PTOs, local nursery schools, the homeschooling community that relies on us and spends a lot of time in the library, Town of Lewisboro Parks and Rec seniors. I conduct a book club for the seniors every month, town historian, sustainability committee, and town board. And I do want to say that the library is very grateful to all of our donors and volunteers to help the library to serve our community. And thank you to all the many members of the community who have expressed support for the library. I did distribute to the town board the proposed 2023 budget and some budget notes, and we can go over some various items if you have questions. This is an unusual year for us. We are trying to get out of the basement of public support. I'm gonna let you.
Yeah. Okay. So your spreadsheet is up.
Yes.
And you have your notes, but yeah, I guess your notes reference.
Yes, various
Nice.
lines. Yes,
Okay.
they do. So up at the top, you can see we are asking for a 10% increase in the town's contribution, which comes to $45,591.39. That would make the town's contribution to be 75.3% of the operating budget proposed for 2023. The library has increased its commitment to raising money 14.94% and that it would be 22.1%. Now, if you go all the way down to the bottom, you will see that this budget is still not balanced, although it is considerably better than it was in 2022. We made a budget last year that was $71,000 in the red, and we will hope that we can close it without having to dip too far into the operating reserve. But we are trying to reduce that from happening. And you can see the 2023 budget we're predicting at this point anyway, because this budget, of course, is our preliminary budget of $17,551.48. So I can go through these line by line, if you like, the ones that are highlighted in my notes. Gifts and contributions. The library board, we felt we're going to increase the budgeted amount to $90,000. We have taken over $100,000 in contributions the past 2 years, and we hope that the community will still come through for us and we'll be able to match that. But we have increased the budgeted amount to be much closer to what we have received in the past 2 years. The fines and lost book fees were just raised $500 to better reflect the fines received. However, I must mention that pressure is rising to eliminate fines, overdue fines. More and more public libraries are doing so. And there are over 10 libraries in Westchester County alone that have eliminated overdue fines, and many across the country. Of course, they're not association libraries, they're municipal and their funding is more stable, but just letting you know that that's something that's coming on the horizon. General fundraising, the fundraising committee agrees to raise by $1,000 to $10,000. They hope to do even better than that, but that's in the budget. The local New York State local aid to libraries was just a very minimal increase. And interest income on our operating reserve, which is in a savings account, of course, is minimal. You can't even count on that. We're raising the library fare anticipated budgeted amount from $37,000 to $39,000. I don't have firm figures for you how well the library fair did this year. However, I am anticipating at this point anyway, that it will come in a few thousand, maybe 2,000 or 3,000 better than it did last year. As you all well know, it takes quite some time for the remaining invoices to come in, and there is still some money that has not arrived.
Would that be 2,000 or 3,000 above the 37,000?
Above 39. On your budget, on your budget notes, there actually is the history of how we did over the years. So you can see. Of course, there was nothing in 2020,
Oh, yeah,
but in
sure.
2021, we received $38,014. We're hoping to break 40 this year. Keep your fingers crossed. We did suffer a small setback in that it rained hard and the books we were sending off to thrift books to sell online, many of them were destroyed by the rain, even though they were under a tent. So we not only won't get money from those books, we're going to have to pay for an extra dumpster to pull them away.
Boy Scout Dumpster Day is coming up, just FYI.
I'm sorry.
Boy Scout Dumpster Day is coming up, FYI.
They're very heavy and it's 3 pallets of boxes and they're soaking wet. So thank you. Thank you for that suggestion, but I don't know. I think we would.
Or maybe we can figure out a way to get those pallets over there.
Okay, I'll tell the fair coordinator
What do they
because
charge,
she's,
what do they charge for pallet? I know it's per carload, but
There's 2 prices, one for car, one for truck, but
I'm not even
This
sure
is
how
Boy
we would
Scout.
get them
They're
over there.
nice.
They're so
we can figure
big.
something out.
Oh, you don't not want to touch those books. They're wet and I'm sure they're moldy by now. Anyway,
Okay.
I digress. Sorry. So on to any questions about the income? As I rattle on here.
Cindy, I do
Yeah.
remember a couple of years ago, before the pandemic, I will preface by saying, a lifetime ago, more
Yeah.
or less for some of us. There was, some of the income was attributed to a regular, very, very generous private donor. And I know, I haven't seen that. I don't know whether that particular donor is no longer with us, whether they moved away or they had,
Yeah.
things happen, finances happen.
Actually, in 20, and I'm going to get the year wrong, I think it was 2020. If we're thinking of the same person, our donations were actually really down. And this person stepped forward to contribute $30,000 that year. And partially because it was during the pandemic and now they don't contribute that every year, but they will contribute at least 5,000 maybe. I mean, we're very lucky. Sometimes people step forward that we're not even on our radar, but we can't count on that every year from
Nope.
them, but they do it when they can. And we do appreciate that.
And if there's anyone listening in the audience, I'll be more than happy to connect with you to accept a donation for the library.
That would be wonderful. Salaries at this point, and this is very much contingent on how well we do by the end of the year. Also, we do like to see what the town is doing by the end of the year. I know you're in the middle of many negotiations of what you're going to be paying the various town employees and the various unions. But at the moment, we're recommending a 4% salary increase. That's not written in stone, but that's what it is in the budget. Our employer retirement contribution is being increased to add contributions possibly for 2 part-time employees who now meet the criteria for library pension. It is set at 5% for full-time employees and for employees that work more than 20 hours per week. Health benefits, unfortunately, the NISHIP, we're on the same New York State health plan that the town is on. And as Mary Hafter and I well know, we don't get the new rates till the end of November. We put a 10% placeholder in there. Last year it was 11.69 was the increase, but the previous year was only 3.24. So let's all cross our fingers and hope that the state comes through for us this year. COVID, you will see I have some lines that are expense lines that are outlined in red. We added that line as we had many unexpected expenses due to COVID, the glass and plexiglass barriers, the PPE, the hand sanitizer. Obviously, that spending has lessened. So we're going to eliminate that budget line and we're going to shift some of those expenses into existing lines. So the Zoom annual fees going to the office expense line, the cleaning fee, which increased a great deal because of COVID, to be moved to custodian and maintenance. So you'll see 2 of those lines will disappear, but they've been added to other lines. Our payroll system usually raises their fees about 3%. I have not heard that for sure yet. And then the payroll retirement administration, the Vanguard fees for acting as a TPA or a third-party administrator for our new plan and the old plan. Books and media. I've raised it by $2,000 to keep up with price increases. I would love to see that even higher. It's an expense line that's been neglected for many years. It's an easy place to try and balance the budget, unfortunately. The percentage of our budget spent on library materials is low compared to many other libraries in the Westchester system. Borrowing of digital materials has increased, and the price of that material is much more expensive than print materials. Demand from our patrons has greatly increased, and I'm here to tell you that we don't come close to meeting the demand for the holds that are placed on the digital material. I feel like I'm playing God every time I decide which titles I'm going to buy and which ones I'm not going to. So you may not get to read your ebook for a while. Most of our digital content purchasing is shared cooperatively with the other system libraries, but we must purchase ebook and e-audiobooks as individual licenses for the Libby app to meet the needs of our patrons, after which they become part of the pool to serve all of the Westchester Library System patrons in the county. Periodicals, I am not raising. WLSIT, I'm happy to say we were able to reduce that line. They ended up not raising their fees as much as anticipated in 2022. So I was able to take that into account, even though they are going to be charging us 2% more for next year. Utilities, we're just raising by 10% or $2,000, as everybody knows. Oil and electricity prices are increasing a great deal. Plus, it was so bloody hot this past summer that the air conditioning costs were high also. Insurance, we switched liability to CNA for a better deal. Legal and accounting, that's going to be higher. We have had some legal costs associated with setting up our pension plan, and we just think it's prudent to at least allow for $2,000 for any possible legal costs going forward. And of course, the audit, we've put in $5,000, and that's an optimistic figure. I'm sure it's going to cost us more than that. Office supplies we are increasing by 1,375 because we recategorized some of the COVID expenses. We categorized the equipment repair is going in there. We have 649 for increase in printer contract fees and increased by 1% on everything else for price increases and delivery fees. Publicity, we only changed by $240. Programs, we're keeping the same because we have been very, very efficient and very lucky to share cooperative virtual programs with other libraries. We will continue to do that. And custodial and maintenance, we're increasing to match what the actual spending has been this year. Again, the building is not brand new any longer, so maintenance and repair costs are starting to increase. So any questions on the expenses?
Just Cindy, maybe
Yeah.
if you could, thank you, if you could take a minute and maybe educate people as far as the different types of libraries. You mentioned the association library, the municipal libraries, there's 4 types, I believe.
Yes,
If you could just explain to
Sure.
everybody
I'm
what
sorry.
what one can do and what one can't do based upon the type of library it is in New York State.
Absolutely. I'm sorry, it's legal and it's a little boring, but there are 4 different legal structures of public libraries that are chartered by the state education department regents to be public libraries in New York State. The first one would be the municipal library, which is an actual department of a town or a municipality, city, and which is a department which fully reports to the town and has to abide by civil service and all of those things as well. They're usually fully funded by the town. They do occasionally have friends of the library that may raise a little money for a program here and there, but overall, they're fully funded by the town. There are 2 types of special district libraries. One is a library special district and the other is a school district special district. It does not mean that the district is run by the school district. It depends on the borders. So a school district public library has the same borders as the school district. So if we had a school district library here, it would serve Katona and Lewisboro. But trying to think of, but Pound Ridge, for example, they're a special district library. They serve their chartered area is the town. So that's the 2 different special districts. All 3 of those libraries must abide by civil service law, the Wicks law for construction, and they may not raise funds on their own. They're not permitted to. They'd have to have a foundation or Friends of the Library that is a 501c3 organization in order to do that. And the civil service does bind their hands pretty carefully about how they can recombine positions. So we're an association library. Out of the 38 libraries in Westchester, for example, 9 of them are association. There's about 7,000 libraries in the state. I can't tell you the percentage association of all of them, but we are actually a private 501c3 organization, and we can raise money on our own, but we don't have to abide by civil service or the Wicks law.
But a municipal library, say in a city, can there be essentially a library tax where people are getting taxed to pay for the library?
Well, it would be part of the whole budget. It would be part of the whole budget. The special district libraries actually have a vote on their budget, and their trustees are voted on publicly as well. And I believe the municipal libraries, they still have a board of trustees, and I believe they're voted on publicly as well. Ours are voted on. We have an annual meeting, an association meeting, and we vote them in at that time. Any other questions about the expenses or the income?
Nope.
As I
Anything
said,
else?
our dearest hope is to eliminate having to have an unbalanced budget. And we'd like to get out of the basement and have more public support for the library. I think we do a pretty good job, and I want to remind everybody as well, we were able to completely renovate our building with not $1 from the town. It was a $1.5 million renovation, which all the money was either raised privately or there was a $200,000 grant from the state. And we're very proud of the building, and we're very proud to have it as one of the many centerpieces of the town.
In that renovation, you increased the space 33% for the public use
We did,
and completely renovated the staff space as well.
as well as a beautiful children's room. And if anybody hasn't seen it, please come in. We're very proud of the children's room.
So I want to thank Cindy and members of the board for meeting with me last week to go over some details and questions that I've had. Cindy provided me with additional information that I asked, that I've gone over, and I believe she's providing me with even more information that we discussed. And I've been speaking with Mary Shaw about that as well. So we will follow up before the end of this lovely budget process. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
for
you,
the
Cindy.
time.
And I've tried to answer every single email that's come in. And if I haven't answered your email yet, I will probably answer it in the next couple of days. I appreciate the input.
And the ones directed specifically to me, I haven't responded to them all, but I do have your emails and read some of them here. So thank you everyone for your input. And related to the budget, we are going to have our next meeting will be a work session on the budget. So we're going to review the requested numbers from all the departments in the work session, so which will include the library's numbers.
Next Monday?
No, that'll be 2 weeks from the 24th, right? 2 weeks from yesterday.
We can't. I'm sorry.
Could schedule another meeting if you really wanted to.
We could, but we also have our liaison responsibilities.
True.
So we have to meet with the councils and committees and departments as well.
Right. Okay, so moving on. Next item is a resolution approving Oak Ridge Holdings LLC application for license to collect and dispose of refuse and recyclables in the town of Lewisboro. So this is it's a renewal. Correct, Janet?
Correct.
Any issues or concerns?
No.
So moved.
And their insurance is all in
Yes.
order. Okay.
So moved.
No, that's for you.
Oh.
So no, for you.
I keep passing notes to Janet.
No, that was him.
Was there seconded?
I second.
You second discussion, all in favor? Aye. Okay. Okay, next is designation of no through traffic on Schoolhouse Road. So let me just see, provide a little feedback. So Schoolhouse Road is it's a dirt road that has been used as a shortcut between 35 and 121. Because it is a dirt road, it was damaged quite a bit during the winter storms and the rain that we had. So we want to minimize the amount of traffic that goes on that road. In addition, at the corner of Schoolhouse and Mead, there's that triangle, which I've heard even today, someone left me a voicemail, I haven't spoken to them yet, where they almost had a head-on collision with somebody because it's very, there's a triangle and both sides of the triangle are two-way. So when people are, welcome, Dan. So when people are making a turn and someone's driving east on Schoolhouse, it could be very dangerous. So I had already discussed with the highway department to see what we can do about that triangle, potentially removing it.
Oh, really?
Possibly. So yet to be discussed. So these are just some options. Or reorienting the flow of traffic around that triangle and putting up the appropriate signage. So in addition to that, we did have our police, we have these new speed signs that collect data on traffic and volume of cars and vehicles traveling. And with that data, we were able to see that there is quite a bit of volume of traffic that is using that road as a cut through or shortcut. So we, again, with coordination with our police chief and our highway superintendent, we decided that the course of action would be to minimize and make that a safer road, would be to have no through traffic signs on both ends, on the 121 side and on the Mead Street side.
What does that mean, actually? No through traffic?
Traffic that's trying to get through, that's using that road as a way to get through to the, and
If you don't live there, you
shouldn't be using
go
it,
through.
basically, correct.
Tony, just as a person who lives on a street
Mhm.
for which many residents requested no through traffic signs and no commercial traffic signs, they don't work. They don't work. I live on Kitchewan Road and it's a through from 124 to 123. Massive amounts of Connecticut traffic.
Right.
I know that there have been people that have asked for things to be done so that a lot of the commercial traffic, when they Google or they do Waze, that we don't come up as a route. Some of the streets don't come up as a route. They see it as a shortcut and they don't realize till they get there that, there's a sign, or they don't see the sign and they, what are they going to do? They're going to go that way anyway. And then Mill River Road comes down. So we've got traffic that comes from Mill River Road to Kitchewan, and then they shoot out to 124. And I know residents have asked, and I know that signs were put up, and I was appreciative, but I can honestly say I have seen no difference in the amount of.
And how long ago was that?
A couple of years.
Couple of years?
I think it was, I remember Martha Goodman, who lives on my street, was requesting it, and we discussed it, and the signs, it took a little bit of time, but the signs were put up. And
Is there any data collected on the traffic flow?
that I don't know. I did just my visual. That's all I got for you as a
Yeah, so
resident.
we don't.
I'm just saying, I'm not saying, listen, the signs cost wise, are they a cost? Yes, but I'm just saying, as far as signage goes,
Well,
just
the-
living through it, I haven't seen any
So the hope
difference.
as well is that these navigation companies like Waze, Google Maps,
Right.
et cetera, that once they know that it's no through traffic, they're gonna direct people that way. So we need to communicate that to them. To
Somehow,
those
some
platform
way.
providers. There is a way.
I
so we-
believe you. I'm
yeah.
just reporting back.
Yeah.
But that's what it's, the no commercial versus the no through traffic. There's nothing,
Why did I say commercial?
I'm
No, he's-
drawing a difference
Yeah,
between the two. No through traffic, you're asking people don't go through, but it's a public street. So you can't prevent anybody from going through if they want to.
Well, after the sign is up, we can enforce it. And I'll go back.
But how can you? Right, there's no vehicle, that's what I'm getting at. There's no vehicle in traffic law. Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. There's no
It's not.
vehicle in traffic law provision, which.
No, but it would be, after we do this, it would be, if we vote on this and approve it, we would have to amend
Amend
our
the
vehicle and
local law.
traffic law, the local law. Correct.
One or both of these streets
Right,
to your schedule of no through traffic.
right. So that's the goal,
And-
is to do that.
And it's the only way to enforce it. is to
Correct.
have something on the books.
Right.
When you put the sign up.
Yeah, no, we would want to be able to enforce it, so we need to amend the VNT law, right? VNT code.
You do it. Drop local law.
Yeah.
That's all the police go.
Is
Right.
anybody on any of these streets asking for this?
Yes,
I haven't seen any communications on it. Has anybody sent anything?
I probably copied the board. I usually do, but if you didn't see them, can't help
I
it.
didn't see anything on the no through traffic request. I mean,
Okay.
it's putting, I think it's, I guess Andrew's kind of getting to this. I think it's virtually impossible to enforce based upon our
Well,
request upon our department.
So like Greg just confirmed, Kitchewan Road is not on the VNT code law, so it can't be enforceable.
No, but I'm saying even if you had it there tomorrow, no through traffic on these two roads based upon the amount of
Correct,
police
but,
department we have available for this.
right,
I mean,
Right, so even if we
Once every
split
year,
it,
gonna
even
be
if we
camped out in the
amended our
street?
code and we
Yeah.
added it to the code, enforcement becomes issue number 2 because we don't have enough coverage to enforce this on all these smaller connector roads. And
it's also
hard.
sticky from police, law enforcement. So they're hanging out, somebody randomly goes through and cuts through and pulls them over, and then you get in the
so
whole
like,
other mess.
like-
I'm all for
Yeah.
deterrence, don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, I'm just saying there's other parts to this to try to make it work.
Right.
And I understand that this is a problem because I live on a street that is a problem, so I can appreciate this. I'm
and
just,
and
you
the
know,
other, and again, like I mentioned, this is a dirt road and it was in really bad shape.
Yes.
Because of a lot of traffic that was
Yes.
going through there. I drove it several times and
Yes.
there were, my car actually bottomed out a couple of times, but from the ruts.
But that's an issue that, there's no interest. I'm presuming there's no interest in down the road putting pavement on that.
Well, there is from some people.
And
Okay,
then
well,
resistance from others.
right,
Right.
so
So rather than do the paving at this point, this would be the simplest solution, gives us something that once we change the vehicle and traffic code, gives us something that we can enforce.
but I
it's-
think
it's-
we're all in agreement that the problem has to be looked at and a solution has to come up. We have to come up with a solution. What that solution is, we haven't.
Well, what's
We don't
being
have that
proposed here
complete
is the
decision.
current solution. So the thing is to vote on it and schedule a public hearing. And again, I did get feedback from our police chief. He's in agreement with this. I wouldn't do it without his,
he's in agreement that way.
to put up a no through
The
traffic
signs.
sign.
I
And
think there's
then
no-
to be able to enforce it.
There's no harm in it.
No.
Again,
You know, it's
he
respect
took the
miracles,
time to
but-
collect data. And his feedback to me was. I'm
It's a
okay with
street
doing
that needs
this.
a sign.
Right now, the only tools available to us on these local roads, basically, there's no like physical, we talk about speed bumps and things like that, and that's kind of questionable in a lot of respects. These kind of sort of, signs and various, visual signals are like all we have at this point,
Right.
and open to great ideas, but we've been thinking about this for decades now, how to make our local roads safer. There's no miracle.
There's no miracle.
Yeah,
Is there a way we can also include on that list Ridgefield Avenue?
so that's being worked on by Pound Ridge, actually, I think even tonight.
Okay.
So and I have a letter I'll read regarding that. It's tied to West Road. It's tied to the next one,
Okay,
which is coordination between Pound Ridge and Lewisboro.
I think you
Yeah.
should do, then if you're gonna contemplate this, I think this should be some kind of study of all the roads in town which potentially come into this category. We shouldn't just do it piecemeal. If we're gonna modify
I
the vehicle.
disagree.
If we're gonna okay, well, if we're gonna
disagree.
modify the vehicle and traffic law and put in two roads.
Yeah.
And then somebody sees this and then 3 months later, they want their road to be no through. And there's no indication that it's gonna solve the problem. There's no, that's the.
No.
No, you're not gonna know until it's enforceable and we can actually write up tickets, if people, if that's what it takes to get them to stop using it as a.
So if I leave,
GPS
so
companies.
in other words, if I leave this meeting and I'm going home to Golden's Bridge and I decide to go through on Mead and cut that way. So I'm risking a vehicle or traffic law
That
ticket
is
on my way
correct.
home.
I don't go that way when I go home. When I live in Golden's Bridge too.
Well, sometimes I like to mix it up, let's say, but I'm not gonna go on Schoolhouse Road because of that, but
And you have to wash your car. It's the-
I just
Look,
did it.
listen, at the end of the day, a sign is a form of deterrent. We can all agree on that, a sign in circumstances like this is better than no sign. But to Rich's point, right? We may want to just take a quick look at my street, we'll look at Ridgefield, whatever the case may be, because cost
Yeah,
of publishing and doing a local law is not cheap. And if we can do the the least number of local laws and pay for the least number of local laws, the better, if we can encompass more.
Is there a cost to?
Publishing?
Okay to publish. Probably more science.
It's the
signs
sign.
are probably more expensive.
Yeah, it's not a local.
I think that it would,
Wow.
I think that it would overall be much more helpful and, I'm sorry.
Second, I didn't,
Sorry.
can you
Just
repeat?
you would, anything you legislate in the area you legislate, you have to order signs for both, any entrance to that particular
Right.
road, and you may get the kind of scale ordering a certain number as opposed to a smaller number if you're going to legislate on,
Right.
more than the two roads.
Thank you.
Publishing, Notice is pretty.
It's
simple.
about $80.
Yeah,
and
that's
then you
not-
have to update your code, so that all gets done.
I think the clear problem is speeding through town. And that's so, I mean, it would be nice if somehow we can get, our friends in New York State Police to do more enforcement, say along 35.
Well, they're now talking state roads.
No, but
So
I'm talking about the idea is all this ties into if people are traveling at a prudent speed, whether they're going on 35 or the state roads or they're going on the local roads. That's the point. Speed is generally what the
But
issue is.
that's not what we're talking about.
I know that's what we're talking about. I'm
So
saying
that's
that's
different
the problem. If there's
Okay.
less speeding, there's more safety as a general proposition, which will work across the board
Okay,
at every road and anywhere.
so I'd like to motion that we approve no through traffic signs for Schoolhouse Road.
Well,
and
can't.
Well, we
have
first have to
to-
draft legislation for a public
motion for
hearing.
a public hearing.
Well, we first have to
Well, we
have
have to
the
have-
draft of the hearing, of the law.
You can set the public hearing, you can give enough time to circulate the draft. And
Okay,
it only needs 5 days notice.
so can we do this, since the next meeting is a work session on the budget, can we do this in the November meeting?
Well, there's
Public
also
hearing.
something that I had wanted to have a
Okay,
public.
so that's what I
hearing.
like to do.
I,
Yeah,
the law is pretty simple, you just amending the schedule,
correct.
add whatever roads you prefer, and I can draft it out.
Yeah.
It's just gonna-
Okay.
Entrance directions.
So do we need to motion for,
Set the public
to set the
hearing.
public hearing? Okay,
And,
so I like to motion to set a public hearing.
and if anybody knows of any streets that they think should be added to the local law before we draft it and put it out for,
With data,
with
with real
data.
data.
Well, we don't have any data on these streets though, do we?
We
We
do.
do.
And okay, well, I'd like to have that reviewed.
We have data. I'm sorry,
What's your date for that?
the November meeting is,
November 7th, and you're going to be having one person less.
Like November 7th.
yes, and then 21st, yeah.
I'm going to be up in Maine presenting at the conference
Which date?
on November 7th. Okay.
Okay,
But you're also putting this on West Road as well?
correct. And I have, we're on, so let's do, let me talk about that one. So West Road, which is, basically turns into Ridgefield Avenue. I mean, I'm sorry. What West Road is discussed along with Ridgefield Avenue turns into Westview on the Pound Ridge side. We had a meeting with, the chief and I, together with the Pound Ridge supervisor and the Pound Ridge, police chief. And I'll read the letter here. Here it is. This
Is that
this from the
distributed to the-
police.
The board?
This was not distributed to the board. This was dated, I just received this a couple of days ago, but I didn't distribute it to the board. On September, this is from the police chief in Pound Ridge, Thomas Mulcahy. On September 12th, Supervisor Hanson and I met with Supervisor Gonsalves and Chief Alfano from Lewisboro to discuss a few traffic issues which require attention and coordination of both towns. The roads that were discussed were Highview Road / Ridgefield Avenue and West Road. The discussion revolved around the increased amount of commuter traffic and commercial traffic respectively on both residential roads. In discussing possible solutions, the discussion moved to the fact that the majority of traffic is being directed to these roads by the various navigation programs, Waze, MapQuest, Google Maps, etc. The mutually agreed solution to address the high volume of commuter traffic on Highview Road, which is Pound Ridge side, and Ridgefield Avenue, and this is being used as a shortcut between 120 4 and 35 from folks coming up from Pound Ridge to get over to 35. I'm sorry, 123.
Yeah.
No,
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 it's
124. No,
close
it's
to-
124.
It's close to the 123 and 35 intersection.
Yeah,
Right near
but
the
it's-
Leon Levy Preserve.
Yes.
And on the other
But
end,
it's Route 124. Yeah.
It's a brutal.
Yeah, so let me just go on. So the mutually agreed solution to address the high volume of commuter traffic on Highview Road / Richfield Avenue is to mark both sides with no through traffic sign. The hope is that this prohibition will get the road taken off as a cut through between Route 35 and Route 124 on all the traffic applications. Now, the request here is just, and I discussed again with the chief and the highway superintendent, is no through traffic on Highview on the Pound Ridge side. They're going to do that. We already have a no turns allowed between certain hours in the morning from 35 to get to Richfield Avenue. And most of the data that we collected show that the traffic is coming up from the Pound Ridge side to Route 35. And so that's where we need the no through traffic sign. But again, that's Pound Ridge. They're going to go ahead and move forward with that at their town board meeting, which I believe is going to be tonight as well. Now, to go on to West Road, we discussed West Road and have been getting complaints about large commercial trucks using that as a shortcut as well. And this was, again, a request from Pound Ridge. As you all know, this is a small residential road, which is even narrower on the Lewisboro side. We had the same expectations with this road for signage and helping with the reduction of commercial traffic. We performed a traffic study on West Road as well, which showed the roadway being used by landscapers, so small commercial trucks, and a few larger vehicles, which we assumed were heading to Grace Farms. Yeah, yeah. As far as West Road, the goal is to reduce commercial traffic on the roadway by eliminating through commercial traffic. This will allow deliveries and landscapers to access residences on and off West Road.
That road had, I say had, 2 huge speed bumps in it that repaving has since
On our side?
kind of leveled, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Chief Alfano completed a traffic survey to address the volume issue on Highview Road. Now we're getting back to Highview and Richfield, which I believe was forwarded to both town boards. Hopefully the strategy has a desired effect with navigation programs, which will have the greatest impact upon traffic on both roadways. So the request for West Road is no through commercial traffic,
Well, the request from the Pound Ridge.
and which is a
Police
correction in the agenda. It says no through traffic, but it should have been no through
That's
commercial
what the
traffic.
Pound Ridge Police Chief is making that request. right?
Correct. They, when they met with us, they made that
Well,
request to us
isn't
based
that-
on their data that they
That
collected.
corner on Fulton Hill and west, that's Pound Ridge. No. No, right at that point, there's a point, having lived there from 2003 to 2014. There's a point where there's a sliver that's Pound Ridge in between Lewisboro and New Canaan. Yeah, and that's, I think, what the police chief of Pound Ridge wants to put up,
And
if I'm understanding you correctly.
to clarify for me also, because, okay, if they're not coming from West Road, they can come in Puddin Hill Road, the commercial traffic. We think they're all heading to Grace Farms. Is that
Well,
it?
if they're coming from Pound Ridge, right, and they're coming that road that turns into Puddin Hill, they can make the left on West Road.
Yeah.
I also said West
Oh, they're
Lane
going that way.
To get to
to get to
123.
123, coming up to go to continue up to 35.
So Pound Ridge is gonna, yeah, they're gonna put a sign on that side. They want us to put a sign on our side. Yeah. So the motion is for a public hearing for both of these, the no through traffic on Schoolhouse Road on both ends.
I'd like to hear from, I'd like, well, I don't know if I have to discuss your motion, so go ahead.
And no through commercial traffic on West Road. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion?
Yeah, I think I'd like to hear from the police chief on this. I don't think this is meaningfully solving a problem. And then you put no through traffic signs on 2 main arteries, and then what happens the day that that's posted, and you create other issues.
Well, it's not,
You're not gonna create other.
Well,
issues.
we can ask the police chief to come and speak at the public hearing. Sorry, Mary, I interrupted you.
no, I was just gonna say, I don't see West Road as being a major artery, having walked on it as a pedestrian on a regular basis and come close to getting clipped on a regular
The
basis.
point is to make it not a major artery.
Yeah,
Right. And, well, I'd like to hear from the police.
So we'll have them come
This
in.
is
at the
not, I
public
just
hearing.
don't see the amount of vehicles that may be going through over the course of the day being a very small percentage of it. I just don't see this. I see this just adding bureaucracy and something that's impossible for our police department to be able to enforce on top of everything else.
Well, if we can find out, what I'd like to do is make sure that in putting these signs up, there's a way we can reach those travel apps like Waze
Right,
and
that's,
the various
that'd be the
maps.
next step.
You can't, what you read from the Pound Ridge Police Chief says, we hope, I don't know what that, that's not indicating anybody's being reached out. We hope we put a sign and hope that the app, whoever does the apps can figure it out. That's what I'm getting.
So.
So just
I-
moving back, when were we thinking about putting this, when were you thinking the second meeting in November? Because
the
Mary's not,
first- Well,
Mary's not gonna be here for the first one, and it
So we
sounds
could
like
do-
she would like to hear what's
okay,
being
we
presented,
could
so.
wait till the
If
second.
we put it on for the second one, that gives us plenty of time and several
chief to-
meetings for the chief to come speak to us personally, but also to speak at the public hearing. In addition,
And see if we can talk to the chief about increasing more
and then
as well.
Well, we need to better understand that
Yeah.
Barbara's concern. Yeah.
And then we'll have plenty of time before the public hearing to change the content of the public law prior to publication, if we decide we want to change it before then, to remove a street or add a street.
Change it before,
If we put the public hearing on for the second meeting in November,
right,
that gives us plenty of time for us to bring in Chief Alfano to answer questions that Rich has, answer questions of the board, right?
or the
And-
individual board member's gonna go to him. Yeah.
Either way, we've
Yeah.
had plenty of time to have those conversations. And also, if based on those conversations or additional conversations, we feel that a road needs to be added or needs to be deleted from the language, we still have plenty of time before we have to publish the local law
Okay. so
prior
right
to the
there.
public
Mhm.
hearing to make those changes
Yeah.
before we get there. So I'm just saying it kind of makes sense time-wise to do it that way, and we have plenty of time to kind of tweak
Okay.
it before we have to publish it.
Kitchen on Road has signed on it already. She probably.
Well, I was gonna
Right.
ask Janet after this for us to find a resolution from that
Right.
several years ago.
It would be in the code.
No, I know that, but I know it was, right, but I don't think the law was passed. I think that they just put up signs. I'll take pictures of the signs and then we could see if there was some sort of resolution about the signs. But that was it. I know, there's
Yeah, okay.
there are other towns,
So-
I know of several places where signs were put up, but they were never added to the code and they're not really enforceable, but nobody really knows that, and so they're really there as a deterrent, so we
Right,
do things
okay.
the right way. We
Okay.
sort things up, right?
Okay, good.
Comprehensive.
So that was the discussion. All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Rich?
For the public hearing, I am the public hearing. Okay.
Well, that's all we're voting on.
Yeah, I'd like for the chief to be at the public hearing if he can be.
Okay.
I'd like to hear him speak, hear what he has to say.
Okay, so that's for both D and E, right?
That's the end, correct.
Actually, it's actually two sections of law. It's gonna be.
Two public.
Oh. It'll be one public hearing, multiple changes to multiple sections.
Okay, so next topic is the rehiring of our lead maintenance mechanic to part-time. That's Joel Smith. So Joel officially retired on September 30th. And the resolution here is to rehire him on a part-time basis for 20 hours per week. And just some of the notes that I reviewed.
Does that
with him.
include town board meetings? So.
I don't know, Joe. No, that's pro bono.
He's done.
So, yeah, no sick time, no vacation time, no paid holidays, not looking for any of that. He'll be rehired under his previous title previous title.
So
Hourly rate as stated in the maintenance agreement, and rehire as of today. He would agree to 24/7 support for any purpose at no additional cost. And there would be mileage for use of vehicle. And then standard well care allowance as stated in the maintenance agreement if possible, for a part-time employee.
So move.
Do I have a second?
Second,
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
do we have to vote on that?
Roll call that? Okay. So roll call. Andrea,
Aye.
Dan,
Aye.
aye.
Very shot.
Aye. Okay. So next is the authorization of contracting services for the building department. So we had already discussed, we identified 2 individuals that would work for us. We just have to get the details ironed out. The board had approved those 2 individuals, and the resolution is to authorize contracting of their services at a not to exceed rate of $65 an hour. They would help us with the code enforcement and with plan reviews with the building department.
Do we have a resolution? Join out on this?
No, we do not yet.
Okay, I'd like to see a resolution. So we can keep the term.
I had some issues, that I would like advice of counsel on this personnel matter, and I was thinking, and I know that Tony and I discussed this, but, I would like us to, consider making a motion to go into executive session on this issue, of which we can vote following executive session on Tony's motion now, this resolution that he's proposing, because I have some issues in my mind that have come up since our last meeting that I think need to be resolved before we move ahead. So that's just me.
So specific to these 2 individuals, Steve
Yes.
Sorrow and Sam Orlino.
Not necessarily specific to these 2 individuals, but for in the method of hiring and the contractual obligation that we're looking to enter into. I have,
Well, this doesn't obligate us to contract them because it's the board permitting or allowing to hire them.
no, I understand that, but the advice that I'm seeking may then change whether or not we're able to hire these 2 individuals in the capacity that we want to hire them, which is why I'm seeking advice of counsel on this particular personnel matter.
And this is just talking about
Okay.
contracting of services. It's not
Correct.
outlining the,
We already agreed on the individuals
Right.
at our last meeting.
we didn't agree on the terms.
Right. And the term for the email I sent to the board was maximum $65 an hour, not to exceed. So
I'm
that's what
not saying we
vote on.
won't vote on the resolution tonight. I'm just saying if we could wait until after executive.
Okay,
That's all.
that's okay. So we'll discuss any concerns you have in executive session.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay, so we'll move on to public comment number 2, which is, oh, I'm sorry, there's one more item. This was an add-on. The tree ordinance, and this is from the Conservation Advisory Council. So we had authorized a budget for their mailing, and the number they had or provided to them was about 2,000 households. 2,000 households is
Not
I think it's $2,000. So now they're looking, so the number they had, it was underestimated, the number of households. So they actually, it's actually 4,000 households, and that's similar to what the comprehensive plan mailing. That's what they used. So they're about $1,000 short. So they would like the board to allocate another $1,000 for their mailing.
What was allocated before? That
Was
up to 2,000? So
Up
that,
to 2,000.
so you're asking authorization up to 3,000, right, instead of 2,000?
And the purpose of the mailing is to advise people of what the tree.
Of the tree ordinance, and right, it basically educate them on the tree ordinance that we have in place, and yeah.
With the pre-design work on the mailing and everything.
She did the work
Yeah.
on designing the
The web
cover
and the
and
website.
the website.
Yeah.
And the link to the website is on the postcard.
Motion to approve up to $3,000 for the expenditures as the supervisor outlined.
Well, it's
It's an
it's an additional
additional
$1,000. I'll go with that. I don't,
2,000 plus 1 is 3, right?
We've already approved
But
the 2,000.
so I don't know that-
Oh, you needed it, okay. Well,
I don't know that for sure. Was it 2,000 that we approved?
Yeah.
It was 2,000. Yeah,
we haven't paid anything, right? So we could rescind the prior for 2 and make a motion to put in 3.
Well, The comprehensive plan, the comprehensive master plan steering committee, I think we only
Up to
approved 2,000. I don't understand then if they've estimated the cost of the mailing to be $2,000.
Yeah, and I don't make,
Now they're estimating that for this other mailing, they're estimating another
Is-
1,000. I just,
Why isn't it apples and apples?
it's, yeah, I mean, the nickel, I know it's nickel and diming, but money's
Aren't
just
they
going out.
both- aren't this, that's a good point. Isn't the both groups looking at the same information?
well, they also, I don't know about the actual postcard costs, whether there's any difference in postcard costs, but,
I do believe that they
So they
were
believe they were-
planning to mail not just.
is John
to
Wolf
the-
on by any chance?
Or Sally?
Or Sally Frank? Is she on, Janet? You see Sally Frank? Because I thought it
Sally
was
Frank or
$2,000
John
that
Wolf?
we had approved. Or the comprehensive plan.
I can look at my resolution. They're not on, by the way.
No, okay.
No, but,
Well, the master plan steering committee, they're looking for information, they're looking for community participation and something that we're investing a ton of money into for the future of the town. I understand that the tree ordinance is important. I understand that people should understand the law, but as an attorney, one lessons that they teach us is that ignorance of the law is no excuse. So if people really want to know what the law is, they can go to the website and look it up. They can click on the link and look it up. $3,000.
Janet.
$2,000.
That's what I thought. So they're both $2,000.
However, with the tree awareness, it was the mailer and webpage.
Okay,
There was an issue with the web. I think they thought they were getting an additional website
yeah.
out of connecting out of our webpage.
Mhm.
Yeah,
that's a
They're
different.
talking about the link, weren't they?
Yeah.
When they were here.
So it's strictly a link. So there shouldn't be any additional monies then for the web.
For the link, correct, right,
Yes, it
So
says,
each were 2,000.
right.
Even if they want a like a separate URL that just redirects to their separate page, that's $15 a year. You know, so-
it's about $50 for 5 years.
Are they asking for an extra $1,000 for a mailing, or are they asking
For the mailing.
$1,000
$1,000 for
for
mailing,
the expense of this
for the mailing.
URL?
The original
seems worth-
price was accurate, but the volume of
Check it back.
postcards has doubled to over 4,300. We were told there were only 2,000 households in Lewisboro, but that was incorrect, so our estimate was completely off.
Don't the household list, doesn't that go from the tax rolls? Where'd that come from?
The assessor,
Says 4,400 on the website. Right, I just looked for
it says, sorry, Cindy?
4,400 households on our. on-
Right, yeah, that's what, like, in the email said, it, yeah, it's over 4,300,
And the comprehensive plan mailers already went out. 'cause,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it as well at our house.
So let's just confirm what they actually spent and then use that as a budget.
What they actually
What
spend.
the steering committee used
the
for their.
comprehensive plan steering committee?
Whatever they.
Yeah.
The comprehensive plan steering committee.
It's all
whatever
match,
their
match, whatever they
postcard
spend
cost.
is what we're authorized for the tree ordinance.
That makes sense.
So they spent 2,000 That's
According
according to the resolution, yeah. So she
So-
generated,
Right.
confirmed that.
So let's not move on this until we get, and if and when we get.
All right, so
input.
motion to table.
Second,
Discussion? Yeah,
I think there was a question of an urgency for getting the.
I was, I was just reading this other email. Looks like there may be an urgency being able to order the postcards.
Sailing, so you should get it into me.
Do we have a number for her? Sally
I
Frank?
got her email. I don't have a phone number.
Some special or something that we're trying to.
Yes.
Want to.
The
I
emails,
know, it's an urgency for a postcard. What's the urgency?
No,
with
the
it?
urgency is not for the postcard, Andrea.
Yeah.
The urgency is for ordering postcards. There's probably maybe a special rate on them. It's not for actually ordering.
All right, so there might be that they're getting a special deal on them, and so they have to order them by a certain time.
Yeah, Why don't we table this?
Playground equipment.
Can we
We could-
table this and then vote on it after executive session and I'll try and call
Okay,
John?
let's do that.
Come
Yeah,
out.
that's a good idea.
And
Okay,
then-
fine. Let's do that. And yeah, if you don't mind.
For
calling
the
Joe.
time being, that's the original.
Can you message
order
him to?
The original one still
Stands,
stands.
and if they can pull it off for that, they don't. have to
Okay.
come back to us.
Correct.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's tabled.
Withdraw the motion. And then we could motion after we come out of exec session. Yeah. Did I motion?
Andrea motioned to table and I second, but we didn't vote on it.
So, all right, so,
I will withdraw my motion to table.
okay.
I'm sorry, I was
So we'll
listening,
discuss-
but there was
okay.
a speed bump in my head.
All right, so we'll discuss it after exec. We'll, yeah, we'll connect with John and or Sally.
We were just saying it's, if they can pull it off within the originally approved budget, then they don't have to come back to us.
Correct. They still have the 2,000 to start with. We haven't taken it away, so.
Okay, so that's new business H, now we're to public comment two.
Okay, so let's not forget that for exec session. Okay, public comment two, for current agenda items only. Anybody here in the audience like to speak? Yeah, up there, and your name and handle it.
Albert Pizzone, I live in Vista. I'd like to thank Cindy for her presentation and just comment on the library budget. I definitely think it's a good idea to increase the library budget. My wife and I run a program at the library that one of the inspired librarians coordinated and asked us to run. It's a program where they play a role-playing game. This librarian saw the interest in the Stranger Things series on Netflix and brought that into the role-playing game that they were playing in that. We offer it to kids in a group, kids from all different interests. We have football players, wrestlers, ballerinas, kids in the band. It's a healthy mix of the kids in there. We went from one session of this group and now we're up to 3 with other kids from the program monitoring and running these programs. And if I could just show you this, this is what's considered to be a character sheet for these children, some in grade school. They fill this out in their first session and they run through it. This looks very much like an application. It's motivating for these kids, the language, the inspired and vocabulary that they learn through this program. To see some of these kids come in with their head down and shy and removed. In the third session, their heads up. They're coordinating with other people in this group, some very outspoken, and to see these kids light turn on and to have them walk through a program and problem solve in these scenarios is amazing. I interviewed at hedge funds, tech companies. They use the same type of interview process to have them solve problems that don't have an answer. And that's what these kids are learning in this program. This was designed by my wife and librarian, who my wife's a PhD in ed psych. They augmented this program for the kids, knowing their interest in this wildly popular Netflix series. It's one of the things that the library does. I feel fortunate to be a part of it and being asked to monitor it for these kids. And it's just amazing to bring all these different kids from different backgrounds, from different interests, to see them helpful, engage each other, work together as a team to solve problems and want to come back, want to read. And that we don't do the heavy lifting. We meet once a month and we have 2 sessions a year. And the kids come into the library, they want to know more about these books. They want to know more about this game. They want to know more about Tolkien. They want to know more. And that's because the librarians lived that in them. And they didn't have to. I mean, that's not what you see in most libraries. You don't see them looking at what's popular in media and bringing that home for these kids in a welcoming environment. And I applaud them. I wouldn't have thought of it. So my second point, I mean, 10%, they need it. The second point is, I live in Vista, specifically on West Road. Oh, I can't do 2.
Real quick.
Real quick.
Westford, real quick.
Okay, we have signs. We've talked to the police in the past about the traffic problems. The traffic actually goes to Rings End, the commercial traffic. It's not to Grace Farms. Grace Farms has a loop around and they actually have a traffic guide that Grace Farms has presented. The issue being is speed and these trucks and one blind curve at the end where you can't fit two cars, and you're well aware. It's been to explain to us that enforcement of this issue is a big problem. They can't put speed traps because it would endanger the officers and the people they pull over because there's nowhere to pull them over. We petitioned them several times. Ms. Rendo said, it's almost impossible to police what you're presenting because a no-through passage is, well, how do you define it? Where do you come on? My navigation system, when I turn on from Pound Ridge, actually says I'm in New York after I pass there. So you've got to coordinate the no-through signs with Connecticut too, and then post them. And then what? You send them through Upland into Scenic if they see the sign. It's really, if you can police, and maybe the new chief has a way of policing the speed, that's black line. You have a gun, you know the number. If it's within the range, it's acceptable. That's what we need to do. Because anybody can get on that road and say, I was at somebody else's house. You know, unless you're going to put a police officer at the beginning and at the end and radio, oh, this guy came on. You don't know where he came from. And you're never going to have the coordination between towns of the town police officer where the road begins talking to the next. So it's impossibility. The speed bumps definitely worked. Nobody liked them. And there was a reason. You hit a good speed bump. You don't hit it the second time. Your car's under.
I don't think they were legal speed bumps, but I'm just saying, the road's been paved, so they're not as.
It was paved over. They don't work anymore because the same people that are going to ignore the no-through signs are ignoring the speed signs because it's unenforceable. And it doesn't take long for people to figure out it's not being enforced. So that's it.
Thank you.
Sure.
Anybody else here?
Good evening, Board. My name's Alex Greger. I'm a resident in the hamlet of South Salem, and I just wanted to stand up after Cindy had spoken after I'd heard what her budget was and what they were asking for, just to full-throatedly support the library. Cindy and her team are doing seemingly a Herculean job on what is already a fairly small budget. Our family moved from Greenpoint, Brooklyn just last year. One of the things that we did was to visit all the areas in the town, and the library stood out as a gem amongst them. And just to give you a little bit of perspective, there's around 12,000 residents in Lewisboro, 140,000 in Greenpoint. They have a $17 to $20 million budget each year. So even if you took 10% as a rough equivalence, that would be a $4 million budget. So I think what we're doing on $400,000 is absolutely superb, and I think a very small request to come cap in hand is a difficult thing to have to do, and they do it humbly and with much effort and grace. We love the library. We pick up our COVID tests every couple of weeks. It's the only place that seems to give them out for free these days, maybe the town as well. We twice just recently, we've used the Wi-Fi when our power went out in Gilbert Street. My kids, I've got a second grader that does the STEM program and Maker's Space. I've got a newborn who does story time. It's just a great resource. So I humbly and strongly urge to meet their request. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a question, newborn doing story time?
Yes, yeah. No, you start at the beginning and it's reading festival and it shows to improve literacy.
Great, thank you. Anyone else? No? How about on Zoom, Jen?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Carol Cernak. I'm asking you to unmute. Carol Cernak.
70 Spring Street South, South Salem, New York, Farvey Farm. Can you hear me?
Yes, you can.
Okay, so I just want to talk a little bit about the library fund. You know, the Wallace Douglas family here has donated for many, many years. and very part-time residents here, although they pay their taxes yearly and they participate yearly in everything. But when they try to go to the library on summer months, they're fought with you know, whether or not they're residents. So I've had that fight for 20 years. The other thing is don't use a picture of the barn and the farm as your retreat for Lewisboro, because it's not. Because what you're doing is you're making it out to seem like the farm is a retreat, and what you're doing is trying to put a cell tower in that's going to block the view. And the other thing is, what about the timber pile at the salt dome site? I keep talking about it. I keep asking about it. I keep writing about it. Nobody gives me an answer. So what's the position on that? Where do we go from there? The other thing is that, you know, the town board is shameful. Rich, you're supposed to be the liaison between the town board and the highway department. I haven't heard from you in months. Tony, you told me to stop swearing and stop saying bad words, but keep complaining. And that's what I've done. And you haven't done me any justice. So look forward to hearing from you. Thanks, guys.
Well, thank you, Carol. Barbara Mangione, I'm asking you to unmute.
How is that?
Very good.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I don't want to belabor the point, but I do just kind of want to add something to the discussion about no through traffic roads in the town. It's kind of a dangerous precedent to set, and it is very concerning. I'm glad Rich brought up some of these points also. It sounds like one of the biggest concerns on Schoolhouse Road in particular is the condition of the road, and because it is a dirt road. I don't think telling cars not to travel that road is the answer. I think preventative maintenance is the answer, and not just telling citizens that they can no longer use that road. I've used it. I've used it many times during the year. I've used it at different times during the day, and I can tell you when I'm on that road, I don't encounter another car. So I'd be very curious to see what that traffic study has shown. It's concerning because I don't think that the town board should be in the business of privatizing public roads. This is not going to help anything. It's going to shift the problem to the other roads in the area. If you don't want cars on Schoolhouse Road, people are going to be using roads next to it. So you're only moving the problem elsewhere, and you're only giving the problem to other residents. There's more traffic. It's an unfortunate thing. There's more traffic. The traffic apps have caused a lot of this. That's not going to go away. And I don't think we should be doing no through traffic on roads that don't really have major problems with traffic. And it's in most parts of Schoolhouse Road, not all of them. It is quite a large, it's wide. So again, I just want to say, I would like to formally request a traffic study be done on Increase Miller Road. Thank you, Mary, for supporting that. And I'd also like to see the town post the results of the traffic study that was done on Schoolhouse Road. Thanks a lot and have a nice evening.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Charlie.
Thank you, Barbara. I'm asking Mary Ann Lansdale to unmute.
I did. Can you hear me?
You're not Mary Ann, but we hear you.
I'm Mary Ann's husband. I'm her husband, John.
He's allowed.
Okay, John, hi. We can hear you.
Hi. I'm using Mary Ann's computer. Hi,
That's okay.
I'm bringing a little history into the West Road humps. The West Road, oh, we live on 29 West Road, right across the street from Albert, who just spoke. And we got to give it a little history. The discussion of about through traffic on West Road was had quite some time ago, and they decided the solution was to put the humps in. And this is a question that's about the way the government works, but somehow the humps were put in and it worked, it was very good. But the highway department every year put more cadmium on top of it, and they did not maintain the humps. Now it's because no budget was issued to maintain the humps, or it's because the highway department is more powerful than the board. How does that work exactly? And that could be a simple solution to the whole thing if somebody could direct the highway department to fix the humps. So that's it. So that question should be asked when they're reviewing this. It's a board and a highway department issue. You make those laws up, but they're no good unless the highway department does their part. So that's all I have to say about it.
All right, well, thank you, John.
You're welcome.
And Simone, I'm asking you to mute.
Hello? Hello?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay, sorry. It said the host wasn't letting me unmute.
I let you unmute.
Thank you. I
You're
really
welcome.
didn't want to speak tonight, but I'm trying to understand this. I agree with Rich. I agree with Barbara. I'm trying to understand how you take a public road and tell tax-paying citizens you can no longer ride down that road with signs on both sides and have our small little police department man these two streets. And I'd like to see the study as well, because I think it also sets bad precedent, because if somebody's annoyed with their street, they're going to get a study, whether it's public, privately paid, I don't know, and they're going to want their street closed down to traffic. And then I'm wondering how we're going to get around this town. When I don't really use Schoolhouse Road a lot, but when I'm coming home, if I'm in Carmel and going to Vista, all the way to Vista, sometimes I do cut through Schoolhouse Road. I don't speed through it. I actually enjoy riding on it when the school's getting out or if they're going in, because it's a nightmare, that street, you know, when the school is all backed up and the roads, and it literally saves me so much time. So I would hate not to be able to go down it, and I don't want to be punished as a resident to go down it. West Street, I've been on that. That's on my side of town, and there is a little bit of a danger over there. I get what you're saying with the trucks, etc. But I just think you're creating more bureaucracy, more issues, and people are going to be annoyed, and people are going to ride down these streets anyway. And maybe after the first week or two where tickets are handed out or whatever it is, you know, it's going to go back to what it is. Maybe it's a deterrent for some people who, you know, follow the roads. I would be interested more than a study to hear what Chief Alfano has to say. He's who I think is our expert. I really thank you all and have a great night.
All right, Simone. Thank you, Simone.
Thank you.
And that's it.
That's it. Okay. All right. So next we have approval of claims. I have a motion to approve claims.
You do so.
Second,
Second.
discussion. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Polling of the board. Start with Andrea.
Had a lovely Columbus Day event yesterday at the Horse Town. Most of the town board members were there to enjoy sausage and peppers, meatballs, pasta. There was music, I believe, early on. Sorry?
Ravioli and cookies as well.
Yes, ravioli, cookies. I had a nice pea puff. Delicious, and you know, the hope is that the event expands and grows over the next year. There were lots of these types of events throughout Westchester County yesterday, down in Yonkers and Harrison, and a few other places. So thank you to the Garibaldi Society for hosting the event at the Horse and Hound. Greatly appreciate it. Also, I think Mary will probably chime in here. This Saturday morning, Vista Firehouse is having a pancake breakfast starting at 7 a.m.
No,
Eight, I think.
11.
11.
Starting.
8 to 11, I think it was.
I thought it was earlier.
We're double checking that for those of
It's on
you.
their website.
Well,
Facebook
the
page.
thing is, every single firehouse, because it's Fire Safety Month, is having an open house.
Yes.
Continue.
So there's that. And I think that that's all I have. We had a very nice new residents meeting over in Golden's Bridge at Fox Valley Park. Met a lot of new residents, many of which were applying for library cards, and spoke to Cindy. And it was really nice to see. You don't really realize how many new people are coming into town until you go to one of those events. And there was a good showing, and it was not pleasant weather. So kudos to our new residents who showed up to meet us all. So
thank you to Nicole and Mike for the hot cider and hot chocolate.
Okay, Dan.
Nothing for me tonight.
Nothing, okay. I'll go next. So we, the Garibaldi Society, I was there as well. It was great. It was good to see George Latimer, our county exec, show up as well for that. And Chris Burdick, our New York State Assembly member. The one thing I have here, which is like the highlight of my announcements, is we had, back in August, I received a letter from the county executive's office where they invited me to participate in the Westchester Senior Citizens Hall of Fame, where it gave me an opportunity to select somebody in town who should be recognized for this event, which is the 40th Annual Senior Citizens Hall of Fame, which is going to be held virtually December 2nd, 11:30 a.m. It's a tribute to older adults who have generously given their time and energy to improve the quality of life in Westchester County community. So the person that I nominated for that was Henry Wolf, who was selected. So I received a letter September 28th saying that I'm delighted to inform you that you have been, no, this is the letter to Henry, actually, sorry. I received a letter as well, but Henry's letter was better. I'm delighted to inform you that you have been selected for induction to Westchester County's 40th Annual Senior Citizen Hall of Fame on Friday, December 2nd. The Senior Hall of Fame is recognized as the Department of Senior Programs and Services signature event where we come together to acknowledge and celebrate Westchester County's most inspiring residents. You are one of those special individuals that consistently demonstrates a true spirit of service to your community. Tony Gonsalves nominated you for this honor because of your outstanding achievements. A panel of judges has chosen you to be one of 52 deserving seniors. So Henry was, I'm not going to read the rest of it, but basically he's done a lot in town in terms of his support with LCTV, and he's been at a lot of our events, recording, interviewing folks. So he has been involved, and I forgot to print out my actual nomination form, which I went through the list of different things that he has achieved and done within town. But basically, he's he is a pillar within Lewisboro, and it was well deserved for him to receive this. So congratulations, Henry Wolf, and I look forward to the December 2nd virtual event.
What time?
It's December 2nd at 11:30 a.m. I think. Yeah, but December 2nd, 11:30 a.m. And I don't have any other info, but it's but I can post it on the website. Basically, if you go to westchesterpartnership.org, details will be posted there. So www.westchesterpartnership.org, which is the Westchester Public-Private Partnership for Aging Services. So congratulations, Henry Wolf. The other thing I had is the Garden Club. They're going to be taking orders for holiday swags. Orders are due by November 1st. I'll make sure this goes out on our town email blast. Spread holiday cheer, community spirit, buy one for a neighbor, a senior, or for yourself. They will be delivered December 4th. It's $35 each. And that's a fundraiser for the Garden Club, who has done a lot of things in town to beautify and revitalize certain parts of town, including on the True Farm. With the meadows, they have a mini meadow there, and other things that they've planting of daffodils, etc., all around town. So that's what it looks like. It'll be sent out via the community email. So a couple of things. The Carol Sarnak concerns about the salt dome. We don't have a solution there yet. We are still working. We had to develop a more detailed survey in order to go out to RFP on the mulching operation and it's a timber pile removal. So as soon as we have an update, you'll be the first to hear about it, Carol. So stay tuned for that. Another note regarding this is regarding Oak Ridge water. So just to give folks an update, as you know, we have our next major project is the expansion of the water plant to mitigate the PFAS issue, which basically, again, New York State lowered their levels. Some of the wells are testing higher than that maximum level set by New York State. The water leaving the plant is below that maximum, what they call the maximum contamination level. So the water is fine according to New York State, DOH, Department of Health. But we do have to mitigate and provide treatment to eliminate that PFAS from the water down to zero. So 0 parts per trillion. And that's the expansion of the plant. It's in the works in terms of we're waiting to get the DOH approval on the construction plans. It's not going to happen till next year. So just an update that this is not something that will happen overnight. There was some question about notices that are placed in the district whenever we exceed, because as a result of this new requirement by New York State Department of Health, we have to test every quarter for this PFAS chemical. Anytime any of the wells exceed that 10 parts per trillion limit, we have to post a notice. And every quarter since this started in first quarter 2021, we have exceeded and will continue to exceed that. So I want people to be aware that these notices will be posted every single quarter. We test above the 10 parts per trillion.
And that's the well as opposed.
That's the well,
that's
opposed to
not-
what's leaving the plant. And it's a Department of Health requirement that we post these notices. So, some people I've seen some of the posts where, they're surprised by these, what are we doing about it? What's the town doing about this? So that is a DOH requirement that those posts be posted within the community. So until we have this third stage of filtering that we're adding to the plant, we are going to continue to see those notices every time we test above that 10 parts per trillion.
Probably after too, because it's the water coming out of the well before it
Right.
enters the plant. So
No. So with the DOH, once we put the filtration in,
yes,
we will not be required to post that anymore. Even though there is PFAS in the source water,
right.
because we're removing it, it doesn't need to be posted.
Understood.
I've confirmed that with them.
Excellent.
So I just want to make that clear to everybody. And again, the construction plans, we went through 2 rounds of reviews with them. The second set of comments went back and now we're waiting on them, but they are, we're not the only ones, or the Oak Ridge Water District are not the only ones having to mitigate for this. And there's a lot of other water systems in the county and in the state. So there's a little bit of a backlog within the Department of Health, as well as the labs. So the labs
That's
that
the county Department of Health.
it's both county and state.
As
Yeah. So they both review, we get 2 sets of comments from both state and county. So that's being worked on. And once we have updates, I will share that with the community. But I just wanted to get a couple of those data points out there so folks are aware of what's going on and that we're staying on top of it is the main message. Barbara May Jones, we can talk about Increase Miller Road. So please, let's talk, let's meet, and we'll get the chief out there if there are issues you're concerned about with Increase Miller Road. And I think that's just make sure I didn't miss anything here. I think that's it for me. So we're good. Rich?
Thank you, Tony. First of all,
Do you want to do the Golden Spirit?
yeah, we'll do, we'll
Golden
just.
Spirit is.
22nd, right? So we're going in order. Okay. Thank you to,
alphabetical.
thank you. Well, data going chronological. Thank you. Right. Thank you to the Garibaldi Society for yesterday. It's a great event, beautiful day. Came up for lunch.
It was good.
Great food. Yeah, it was nice. It was terrific. Another great community event. And hope it'll be, bigger and better next year. October 15th, Saturday. So we have 8 a.m. is the pancakes, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m.
At the Vista.
at Vista, and then you could head over to South Salem for their open house,
from 11 to 3.
11 to 3, which I guess they have probably cider and stuff like
Did you want
that.
Mary to announce that maybe?
Oh, I'm
I'm kidding.
There are fire apparatus tours, live demonstrations, seatbelt convincer, an ice cream truck for those of us who indulge, blood pressure screenings, fire truck bounce house, fire safety trailer, a K-9 team demo, food and refreshments, as well as face painting.
Yeah,
But I do believe you have to be under 18 for the face painting.
October 22nd is the open house for South Salem.
No, in Golden
Oh, Golden
Bridge.
Bridge, I'm sorry, over by me, I'm sorry.
What was
That's
the date on that?
So that's,
So Vista and Golden's Bridge
Are
are on the
Saturday.
15th of October. On the 22nd, the following Saturday, is the open house at Golden's Bridge. And they will be having barbecue burgers, hot dogs, cider and donuts, cookies and snack, Halloween candy, and more. A bouncy firehouse for the young ones. And pick your own pumpkin, and the children receive a free gift bag. There's thrilling firefighting and now there are demonstrations. They're going to show how the jaws of life is used. Rope bailout, as well as LPD, LVAC. That's the Lewisboro Volunteer Ambulance Corps, the State Police, and the County Department of Public Safety are going to be holding demos as well.
so, all right, great. So based upon,
They burned a structure last year. Do you guys
Yeah.
remember this?
Vista did a car.
Wow.
It was
so
cool.
based upon all these open house and eating events, November 1, my low carb diet starting, I'm setting a hard date for that. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Tony.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Mary, anything from you?
Yes.
Okay.
Of course. The playground at the town park
Oh, yeah.
is going to be closed as of today because of construction of the playground for all abilities. And I thank everyone for having contributed. We're still accepting donations. You can still buy a brick to help support it. We've raised over $49,000 as far as contributing towards the playground for everyone. And portraits in the park are going to be on October 15th as well. You check the website of the Parks and Rec Department, and you can get more details and make a reservation for that. I also attended the Garibaldi Italian Heritage Society celebration on Monday, and it was incredible. And thank you to all the individuals who donated to make that happen. I know I sent a check, and I'm sure everyone at this table did as well. They're going to be starting a scholarship fund for high school students to keep it going. And also a shout out for German Heritage Month, as well as the end of Hispanic Heritage Month. It's also LGBTQ plus History Month. It's a busy month. And today is National Coming Out Day. So congratulate those who are brave enough to let the world know who they are. I just also have to give two more shout outs. One, it's Health Literacy Month. It's what I do during the day. So, and Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So if you haven't scheduled your mammogram, do it now. The library is going to be having on the 22nd, 3 different gatherings for demystifying Medicare and healthcare options for seniors. So reach out to our library for more details about that and other events that they have. It's listed as lewisborolibrary.org/events, and you can see the full calendar. And just thank you to everyone who volunteers to make a difference in Lewisboro. You're the backbone of our town. And
Thank you,
that's all
Mary.
I've got.
Excellent. Okay. Okay, next we have the next town board meeting is scheduled for Monday, October 24th at 7:30 PM here at the townhouse. It will be a work session to review the requested budgets from all the departments. So
what's our timing for preliminary? It's like the end of the
I think
month?
and I think it's October 31st for the tentative. I have the schedule,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Okay.
So I'd like to motion that we go into executive session to discuss a property issue with the Lake Kitchewan Association. So we have 3 members of the Lake Kitchewan Association that we're going to be meeting with. And so, and then legal consultation.
Personnel issues.
Personnel issue,
Right, I have
yes.
2 personal issues in the litigation,
Okay, okay.
No.
2 personnel in the litigation.
Kind of like personal.
No, I'm-
So
I'm-
thank you everyone for coming out and thank you. Yeah, motion to, so I motioned executive session. Hold on, we're not done yet.
Indigenous
We're not done yet.
Peoples' Day as well. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention Indigenous Peoples' Day.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
That's
So
okay.
if you'd add that to my notes
okay.
or my
That's right.
public polling.
So,
Be in a minute.
so we got a second, the motion discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.